Fox Sports.
It's foggy, rainy, and we are reminded why the roof is a good thing in Milwaukee as the Brewers and Cubs wrap up their three-game series today here at Miller Park. The bats have been slowed down this series, but Prince fielder Ricky Weeks and Casey McGee and company look to get back on track in this series finale as Dave Bush and Randy Wells will wrap up this series. Welcome back to Brewers Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin as we get you set for this series finale. Telly Hughes, Davey Nelson. Davey, pitching has not recorded a win this series for the Brewers, and a change had to come, and it came in the variety of Jeff Suppan, who started game one of this series, and Ken Maka announced it this morning. Chris Narveson will start Wednesday in place of Jeff Suppan, who will move to the bullpen.
Well, you know what, there's been that question mark about that fifth man in the rotation, and when Jeff Suppan came back, you know, he kind of struggled a little bit, and this last start, it just kind of convinced the Brewers that they needed to give Chris Narveson, who they felt has earned that spot, a chance to end that rotation.
Well, he's been pitching well out of the bullpen, but regardless of who's on the mound, they got to contain Marlon Byrd, who has been really hot as of late in his last four games. 8 for 10, 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, and batting .556.
Well, Marlon Byrd is one of the best players in the National League. And I'm saying that because he was over with the Texas Rangers last year. But this guy, he can run, he can play the outfield, he can hit, and hit with power. You know, he got off to a little bit of a slow start. But just when you think you got him, then this guy can get the bat through the zone. Very, very good player.
Well, he's been a great addition as Derek Lee has struggled on this road trip, and we'll see if Dave Bush and company can contain him. It's Dave Bush, Randy Wells, for the series finale between the Brewers and Cubs. Craig Kashawn, Bill Schroeder will be back with the first pitch in this three-way series.
But how about the tailgating? How about those Brewer fans? Even when it's raining outside, cold and windy, they're still grilling them up and having a good time before the game. And they're hoping to come inside the Miller Park where the dome is closed and we're all set for baseball game 3 of the series between the Cubs and the Brewers. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Craig Deshawn in for Brian Anderson again here this afternoon. Hey, we've got a great pitching matchup for you, at least on paper. We hope it stays that way. Dave Bush against Randy Wells. Both pitchers 1-0, both ERA about 2.4.
Man, both of them have outstanding starts so far this year. This is a rematch of a start back in Wrigley Field on April 14th. Randy Wells picked up a no decision, but still in all, Dave Bush, when he's been out on the mound, has given the Brewers an opportunity to win every time he's been out there, keeping his pitches on the corners, down in the strike zone. His curveball and his cutter have been outstanding so far. So Dave Bush really picking up with his start this year, right where he left off with his start of a year ago. Randy Wells, what a nice surprise. This guy was a catcher in the minor leagues, a converted pitcher, 12 wins last year. There was some talk about Rookie of the Year possibilities for Randy Wells. A good sinking fastball, off to a great start. His only bad start this year actually came against the Brewers. 6 innings, 4 runs. Other than that, he's been virtually unhittable.
We'll see if the Brewers can get the offense cranked up against Randy Wells here this afternoon. The finale of the series coming up. The Brewers need a win. In fact, this season in Game 3 of series, they are a perfect 5-0. Will it be 6-0? We've got the start coming up. Piniella and the Cubs in to see the Brewers, of course, this weekend. 23rd season as a manager in Major League Baseball. And this is what he will put out here on this Sunday. Terrio, Fukudomi, and Lee, the first 3. Ramirez, Colvin, Soriano, Fontenot, Soto, all ahead of Randy Wells, the subway batting order for the Cubs. And, of course, Dave Bush out on the hill for Milwaukee. His rock set, very solid start in his last outing. Best performance on the staff so far. First pitch on the way, and it is outside a ball to Ryan Terrio.
Yeah, Dave Bush has thrown well enough to be 3-0. He's left all 3 of his starts with the lead. Doing a nice job commanding his fastball, getting ahead in the count.
Dave Bush, who's upped his rhythm, gets that pitch in for a strike to even the count at 1-1. So the Cubs and Brewers playing in a series within a couple of weeks, so the same pitching matchup as it turns out on the schedule. 1-1 from Bush, misses. 2-1. Take a look at the umpires: James Hoy, Wally Bell, Laz Diaz, and John Hirschbeck. Game 3, Cubs and Brewers underway. That one in for a strike, 2-2. Brewers trying to bounce back. They've only scored a run in each of the first 2 games against this series, against the Cubs in this series.
There's that backup sinking fastball right on the outside corner. He's been commanding that pitch very well in his first 3 starts.
Here's the 2-2 from Bush. This one misses. So Theriot draws the count full to open things up. On deck is Fukudome.
First 2 games of the series, Ryan Theriot has led off the game with a base hit. That's the way to jumpstart the offense.
This one foul back. Ryan Theriot has eaten up Brewer pitching in his career. .328 against the Brewers. This season already at .435. Some guys just have it, don't they?
Yeah, well, it's just one of those things. You have that comfort level against certain teams. He and Mike Fontenot seemed to have very good numbers against Milwaukee. Good start for Doug Davis yesterday, his best of the season.
Here's the 3-2 from Bush. This one down the right field line, just foul. Yeah, Davis looking strong. He's been really yearning to have a big one, and he finally did yesterday. 6 1/3, gave up 2 earned runs. Unfortunately, didn't get the offensive support.
Yeah, you hate to spoil a good start like that. Doug Davis able to pitch into the 7th inning. A couple of 2-out base hits cost him a couple of runs.
Little chopper off Theriot's foot, foul, so he's working Dave Bush pretty strong here in the first at bat.
And that sinking fastball has been a nice pitch for David in his first 3 starts. When you get that good sink late, you're going to get a lot of foul balls off the plate and off the feet.
9th pitch of the at-bat coming up from Dave Bush. Again, a 3-2 delivery on the way. And this time he grounds it in the left. Base hit, and the Cubs have the first runner on with the first batter.
I don't know what it is about Ryan Theriot and the Brewers, because apparently somebody's getting him out. He came into the series at about 260. Coming in, batting average almost 290. So at this point in the season, you get hot, you can raise that batting average quite a bit very quickly.
Fukudome now in there, and he has a .450 average against Bush this season. .298 on the season overall. A couple of home runs, including one on Friday night in this series. So Bush now works out of the stretch with Theriot at first, gives him a look. First ball. First pitch, I should say, is a ball. .30-year-old Dave Bush really coming into his own. Good start for him after spending nearly 2 months on the disabled list a year ago. To Fukudome, misses again.
Now the top of this Cubs order has been very good. It was Marlon Byrd in yesterday's ball game with Doug Davis on the mound. Fukudome did not get the start. Marlon Byrd with a big day. Fukudome has always hit Brewer pitching pretty well.
There's the Brewer defense. Braun, Edmonds, and Hart out in that outfield. Council gets the start at third. Escobar at short. Weeks and fielder. Dave Bush and Greg Zahn are the battery mates here this afternoon. Bush is fallen behind Fukudome 2 balls. And this one misses. So Dave Bush laboring a bit here to start things out.
Yeah, not the start that the Brewers want. And David has an opportunity to turn this thing around, but the last thing the Brewers need is to play from behind.
Here's the 3-0 delivery. That one in there for a strike. Close game last night, and the Cubs were able to break things open with a 3-run 8th inning and went on to the 5-1 win.
And Brewers made some noise in the bottom of the 8th inning, had a couple of men on. Carlos Zambrano able to get himself out of a mess. Did give up a run, but could have been a lot worse.
It's one of the big stories of the week. Zambrano getting shifted to the bullpen, and he made his first appearance out of there last night, pitching an inning and a third. Terrio on the run. Zohn's throw. He's going to be off target. So he's in with a stolen base.
No stolen base.
No stolen base.
Yep.
You're right. It was a walk.
And one thing that Dave Bush really never seems to have a problem with is walking batters, but he gets behind 3-0. A couple of cut fastballs missing down and in. He's finally able to throw a strike with a 4-seamer. But Fukudome able to draw a walk.
So that brings up Derek Lee with 2 on, nobody out here in the first inning. Cubs putting something together against Bush. First pitch misses outside and low. .230 on the season for Lee. 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 1 for 7 in the series. Here's the 1-0 from Bush. Right up the middle. Weeks backhands, loses it off his glove, and everyone's going to be safe.
I'm not sure if they're going to be able to turn the double play. They had him shaded up the middle. Ricky was there, just went off his glove. Interesting to see how they're going to score that one. It would have been at least an out at second base, so it would have been at worst first and third and 1 out. They get nobody, and that's going to be a single for Derek Lee. Certainly a play that Ricky's got to make. Get at least 1 at second base.
So Ken Maka already stirring in that Brewer dugout. Cubs have the bases loaded, nobody out here to open things up. Ramis Ramirez now up. First pitch in for a strike. Ramirez 134 on the season. Slow start for him. 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. 1 for 4 in the series. Did not play on Friday night.
Yeah, Ramirez snapped an 0 for 21 stretch with a base hit to right. Little cue shot off the end of the bat to drive in the second run for Chicago. Curveball just hung up there on the inside part of the plate.
His career against the Brewers. 278 hitters, got some power. This one fouled back, so he's behind now 1-2.
Yeah, Ramirez off to a bit of a slow start. He didn't have that many at bats in spring training, and I think the Cubs are pointing to that for his slow start. A number of things that nagged him throughout spring training. Didn't play a whole lot. They've been getting him out of the way consistently. He seems to be pulling off the baseball.
Now coming into this series, just a 1 for 20 on the road trip that they've been on. Here's the 1-2. High ball 2.
Yeah, Dave just can't seem to get a feel for that curveball. Every curveball has stayed up in the strike zone. Looked like a pretty good pitch, though. A strike anyway.
With the bases loaded, 8 grand slams in Ramirez's career. He's got the bases full here. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Bush takes care of business. 1 down.
Got him out of the way. That's the way they've been getting him out. Now, fastball outer half. Certainly a pitch that you figured later on in the season Ramirez is going to hit pretty well. You can see him pulling off. I mean, that front shoulder flying open. And Bush able to get him out on the outer half of the plate with a fastball. Oh, now ground ball. He's out of the inning. That's a big out.
Rick Peterson, Brewers pitching coach, watching from the dugout. Dave Bush, 22nd pitch of the opening frame, about to be delivered to Tyler Colvin. And this one's low. Colvin at 276. A couple of home runs, 3 RBIs, 2 for 5 in the series, including a home run.
Yeah, hit a bomb off of Todd Coffey on Friday night.
He got the start in left in place of Soriano on Friday. This one pass fielder down the line. At least 2 are going to come home for the Cubs. Lee's being held at third. It's going to be a 2 RBI double for Colvin, and the Cubs have the early lead at 2-0.
Boy, another hanging curveball by Dave Bush, having a tough time commanding that pitch. Another pitch up in the zone. That curveball right down the middle of the plate, up around the belt, and Colvin hits it hard out of the reach of Prince. And once again, the Brewers are going to have to play from behind. It's been a theme here at Miller Park so far this year, even the first homestand.
Well, outside of that 4-game winning streak the Brewers were able to put together, it has been pretty much playing from behind, Rock. You're right.
Yeah. Just can't continue to do that.
Alfonso Soriano with 1 out, runners at second and third. That went in for a strike.
And playing from behind against teams with pretty good starting pitching.
Soriano's got his numbers back up to over 300 now. 1 for 4 in this series. 0-1 on the way. Into the gap, Corey Hart getting underneath it. He's got it. Derek Lee tags from third. And Colvin tags from second. So the Cubs now add 1 more and have a 3-0 advantage. 2 outs.
Pretty much what the Cubs have done in this 3-game series so far. I mean, every time they've had an opportunity to play to run, they've been able to do it. Their situational hitting has been pretty good. Advancing base runners, driving in runners from third base with less than 2 outs.
Mike Fontenot now up for Chicago. Still has a runner out there at third base in scoring position. 2 outs in the first. Big cut. 0-1. .308, 3 RBIs for Fontenot so far in the year. 1 for 5 in this series with a run batted in.
It's been a pretty good platoon so far for Lou Piniella at second base. Jeff Baker against lefties and Mike Fontenot against the right-handers. Baker got the start yesterday.
Randy Wells redoing the pants and the shoes. He's been sitting, and in his favor, though, he's had a long first inning as he will take the mound for the first time with the lead. Fontenot down 0-2. Pops it up. Ryan Braun coming in, and that'll do it. Cubs get 3 runs, though, in the first inning off Dave Bush. Rough start. Now it's up to the offense to come to the plate and do its part. Wells set to take the mound for the Cubs. He'll open up against Ricky Weeks.
Off to a tremendous start this year, and after a very good rookie campaign. 12 wins for Wells last year. In 27 starts, he only allowed 14 home runs, has yet to give up a long ball this year. A very good sinker, gets a lot of ground ball outs.
First pitch to Weeks. This is outside.
Sometimes the key to getting to a sinker baller is to get him early in the game before he settles in. Brewers are going to have to, at least until 2 strikes, make him get a pitch up in the strike zone. Make him start it around the belt early in the count, because if he starts around the knees, it's going to be out of the zone.
Well, first 2 pitches, 2-0 the count. This one's in there for a strike.
Yeah, if he gets that low strike today, he could have a good afternoon.
Wells gets out there, works fast. Weeks, bouncer to third. And there's your first out. Take a look at that Cubs defense. Brought to you by Blaine's Farm and Feed. Soriano, Colvin, Fukudome, Ramirez, Terrio, Fontenot, and Lee on the infield. And Wells and Giovanni Soto, our battery mates here this afternoon. And Alfonso Soriano kind of directing traffic out there. You never know what he's going to run into in left field, do you?
Once in a while, run into a ball. He's had a tough time out there in left field.
Craig Counsell getting the start at third base today for Milwaukee. His first start over at third on the young season. And he's quickly down the count, 0-2.
You'd like to have as many left-handers in the lineup as you can against Randy Wells. Tough against right-handers. You got 3 left-handers and a switch hitter in the lineup for Ken Maka.
0-2 to Counsell. This one misses low and outside.
And Casey McGee getting his first day off.
I'd wondered about Casey kind of becoming the everyday guy over there. I mean, without a break, but
got to get him a day off.
It's always good to get one. You bet.
Only so many Prince fielders in the game. Casey 1 for 4 yesterday, doubled his first time up.
There's Prince.
Prince hasn't missed a game since 08.
One, 2 to Counsell. This one bounces in for a ball. Of course, it was last Sunday that Counsell capped that 10-run first in Washington, D.C. with his 3rd career grand slam. Lee's got it. Wells covers, drops the ball. Great for the Brewers. Counsell safe.
Hit him in a bad spot, right in the glove. That's an E1. Good play by Derek Lee. Led him perfectly. Got the ball to him quickly. He just dropped it. I mean, a perfect throw from Derek Lee. And the Brewers with a base runner. About as good as it gets defensively at first base, Derek Lee.
But he needed a little help there and didn't get it. So Counsell at first. That brings up Ryan Braun. And what an April he has had. 382 with 5 home runs, 20 RBIs. The 20 RBIs currently tied for first in the National League. This one way outside to open things up. Cubs pitching. Team ERA is 7th at 3.87. Bullpen kind of pulls that number up a bit.
Yeah, well, the key is to get the starter out of the ball game, something the Brewers haven't been able to do in the first 2 games. Get to that pen.
This one in for a strike to even the count at 1-1. Mentioned Braun tied for first in RBIs. He's 2nd in hits with 26 on the season, and also 2nd in total bases with 45. He is among the league leaders in 9 different categories in the top 7, if you can believe that, offensively. This one misses high, 2-1 to Braun.
Seems like he's always off to a good start. His month of April has always been very good. Just the opposite for Prince. Prince, notorious slow starter. Rough April, but not Ryan. Everybody seems to have a month where they kind of slack off a little bit.
You're right. I mean, it's a long year. Here's the 2-1. Ooh, that hit Braun. Right in the back.
He'll take that any day with the way things have gone so far offensively. You get your base runners, you bring the big man up with a couple of men on. It was supposed to be away. That got him right above the elbow. Ouch. Little glancing blow, no big deal.
So 1 down, Prince Fielder comes up with 2 on. So an error on Wells, trying to cover first base on what looked like a routine play, and then he hit Braun. Now the big bopper's up. See what Prince Fielder can do. First pitch in for a strike. Fielder 242 on the season, 7 RBIs, and that first home run came on Thursday afternoon in that rout of Pittsburgh.
Man,
I should say, actually it was Wednesday night. Right. Thursday almost hit.
Right. Prince has still been able to have a pretty good eye at the plate. He's got that on-base percentage near 400. Getting on base.
This one inside.
Now this one should have got out of the ballpark. Missed it by an inch. Off the top of the wall. Hit the yellow line. It's got to go over the yellow line. They went to replay. And they got it right. It did stay in the ballpark. It was a double.
Prince going the other way. Soriano's got a beat on it in left. 2 down.
Always an adventure out there with Soriano. Anytime a ball's hit out the left, you're never sure what's going to happen. Able to haul that one in. Prince doing a nice job taking that ball to the opposite field. Just got down on the trademark a little bit.
Now Jim Edmonds for the Brewers. 2 down still. Those 2 runners out there. Jim Edmonds 306 now as he continues to hit well. However, this series 0 for 5. Big series in Pittsburgh. Seems like he's going to play center or right almost every game.
As long as he keeps hitting. Ken Maka, he's got a 3-man rotation ordinarily with Gomez, Edmonds, and Corey Hart.
High pop-up. Holman gets underneath it in center field, and the Brewers are done here in the first. Having a good time here at Miller Park with the Brewers down on the board. packed house here at Miller Park this afternoon. Big crowds in Milwaukee. Not only here at Miller Park, but down to the Bradley Center last night. Pretty electric atmosphere for the Bucks' playoff win over the Hawks. Both those games happening at the same time. Giovanni Soto up now for Chicago. First pitch in there, a strike from Dave Bush. 351, a homer, and 4 RBIs. That home run he had came against Dave Bush back in Chicago, and these two teams met on April 14th. Now Bush quickly ahead in the count, 0-2. A long first inning for Bush through 28 pitches. Gave up 3 runs. This one misses low, 1-2. Soto on a 462 clip over his last 9 games dating back to April 12th.
He's got 13 base hits, and he's walked a ton so far this year.
Boy, he's walked 10 times during that stretch alone. I mean, he's hitting 462. Imagine the on-base percentage.
Yeah, 520.
Yeah.
Isn't that bad? Over half the times he's been up, he's been on base.
So after getting ahead 0-2, Bush now falls behind 3-2 to Soto.
Still trying to find that breaking pitch. That cut fastball just a little bit low.
And this one misses. So Bush walks Soto, and he's not happy about it.
That's amazing, the pitches that these guys at the plate take. Very close. Back-to-back pitches look like they could have been strikes. The ball 3 pitch, and then that ball 4. Too close to take, but it's called off the plate.
Now the pitcher Randy Wells comes up. He's had a good start at the plate. A couple of hits already this year, batting .400. He looks to bunt. It's a fielder. Going to go to second. Got the out. Back to first. Double play.
Well done by Ricky Weeks getting over there. A beautiful throw by Prince Fielder, a little bit high, but the athleticism of Escobar able to grab it and then all in one motion able to get that ball off to first base. It takes a big time arm to turn a double play. Watch Esky flat-footed. You had Soto right on top of him, but still able to make a good strong throw over to Weeks. You see the way he used second base as a defense. Soto kind of stopped on the bag, and that's what allowed Escobar to get that throw off cleanly to first base.
Boy, how much did Bush need that double play?
Yeah.
So 2 down, and Terrio back up there for the second time already in this game. Singled and scored in the first.
And no hesitation at all by Prince to throw a little bit high, but he got rid of it quickly. That allowed Escobar to be able to make the adjustment.
Rounder finds a spot, and in the right, a base hit.
Can't get him out. It's amazing.
Well, he plays that one perfectly. Prince and Ricky are like, we can't get them.
Every time you make a mistake upstairs, I mean, he's going to beat you. That pitch up, straight as a string, outer half, and he just punches it into right field. A seeing eye base hit for Fontenot. I should say Terrio, who's on base. Seems like every time up. He was on base 3 times yesterday and 3 times on Friday night. 2 times already today.
Fukudome at the plate waits for Bush, and he misses. Fukudome walked and scored in the first inning.
And 3rd hit of the ball game for Chicago. They changed the ruling on the Derek Lee ground ball. It was a fielder's choice, and they gave Ricky an error. I agree with that.
Checks Terrio over at first.
So both teams have committed an error so far.
Fukudome's got that bat swinging high. Slaps this one foul to the third base side. Let's go back to Friday night. Fukudome at the plate against Suppan. Has the home run. Suppan, a rough outing for the second time this year, and there's news to talk about today that he moves to the bullpen now.
And Jeff Suppan lost his spot in the Brewers starting rotation, will not pitch on Wednesday.
Terrio on the run. Throw from Zahn right there, and he's safe. Very close.
That took a hop, and what happens when you make a short hop down to second base? Watch Escobar's glove. When he takes the short hop, the glove has to come up, and then he has to bring it back down. Split second, that's all it takes. Watch the glove go up. He tries to get it there, and very close at second base. You see how Terrio slid on the outfield side of the bag, making that throw a little bit longer. A little subtleties, difference between safe and out.
This one just misses, so that evens the count at 2-2. Terrio with his 5th stolen base of the season. He's 5 of 6. He's in scoring position for the ever so dangerous Kosuke Fukudome. This one deep center, gone. And the Cubs have hit Dave Bush hard here in the first 2 frames and lead it 5-0.
And then you got to pitch to him because you got Derek Lee on deck. I mean, you really don't have any choice. You make this guy beat you every single time with Derek Lee on deck. That's why he gets fastballs. And he takes that one into center field way back. And not a good start for Dave Bush and the Brewers. With the way the Brewers have been swinging the bats, 5 runs seems like a lot.
First pitch in for a strike on Lee. And as Rock mentioned, the official score in the first inning for him is an error on Ricky Weeks to reach first. He did score. This one fouled away, down to the count 0-2. Big cut and a miss, and Bush is finally out of it. A couple of more runs for the Cubs, though, here in the second, and they lead it 5-0. I've not seen the long ball do any kind of damage so far in this series, but how about Fukudome? A couple of home runs in this series, including a long drive to center in the second inning. And that's helped power the Cubs. Corey Hart leading off, bunts. Wells fields, throws, safe. So Corey Hart trying to jumpstart things, gets on base with a bunt single.
And do anything he can to get men on base. Need base runners and somebody knock one out of here. The Brewers have not homered against the Cubs in this series. A team that relies heavily on the long ball. And Corey Hart dropping one down. He's got the speed to be able to beat it.
Even with a decent play by Randy Wells off of the mound.
It's a little like a finch or something, isn't it?
I don't know.
I guess it's a turkey.
It's a sparrow. What we're being told.
Look, I see gold.
Gold. Okay.
The turkey says.
Yes.
The scene say pull a little string.
The goat says. Andrew McCutchen leads it off in inning number 3. Got a fly ball, and it was caught by Michael Bourne on the run, and shall. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Brad Myers, who has 73 major league wins and 64 losses. He started in the rotation last year for the Phillies and then had to have hip surgery after making 10 starts. Came back as a reliever. Rolled into right field by McCutchen. He might be off and running. Hit number 6 for the Pirates, and we go to Greg Lucas, who's back in town.
Now, it's our version of what we used to call email the booth. All you got to do, and it's very, very simple. This is even simpler than ever. Go to the website, foxsportshouston.com, and you will see a little thing. It says fan mail. Click on it, and then you can send us a note throughout any game or at any time. I'll read them all initially, and Brownie and JD will get some of them, and we'll get back to you. Some of them we'll talk about on the air, and we'll talk about things like that. Back to you guys upstairs.
Great throw by J.R. Tolles to get the speedy Andrew McCutchen, who was 9 of 10 in stolen bases. John Russell coming out to argue the Mike Muchlinski call.
Milledge taking the pitch. JR really unloaded. That was so close at second base. I think he got in there. Yeah, we got a break there.
Tolles throws out his first of the year, at least according to the second base call of Muchlinski. John Russell really making his point. So,
yeah,
catcher's called out.
For catcher, that's kind of like when a hitter goes deep off of a really good pitcher. When you know, as a catcher, you throw out a guy like McCutchen or Michael Bourne, that's when you're kind of proud of. Yeah, I got McCutchen. I mean, even though he appeared to be safe, nonetheless, he made a real good throw.
Yeah, he did.
At least made it a tough call for Muchlinski down there.
First time Tolles has thrown out a man this year in 3 tries. Milledge with an 0-2 count now. I love that replay of McCutchen's arms just churning. It looks like a boxer just pummeling somebody in the corner. Well, his arms really go to work for him when he runs. And Milledge is down on strikes. Let's see it one more time. This is fun.
Yeah, head down, straight ahead. Sliding to the back corner of the base, and yeah, he was in there.
He is a blur. 2 outs, and it's Garrett Jones. Jones singled to center field and came around to score.
week. And there's still time to turn around this game, but for tickets, people should go to Brewers.com or 902-4000 for the spring dance games.
You're partnering with one of my employers on Milwaukee.com with singles night on Tuesday night in the Dew Deck. Tell me about that.
Right. Normally, Dew Deck is reserved for groups, but we decided Tuesday night singles can, for $40, get a ticket to the Dew Deck, mingle with other singles, sponsored by OnMilwaukee.com, all-inclusive food and beverage package, so it's fun and it's a good place to watch the game.
All right, now these early series against the Cubs, have you noticed a reduction in the number of Cubs fans? Are people taking back Miller Park?
We actually, based on our purchasing, we see zip codes, and there are actually less people from Chicago buying the tickets.
That's always good news. Back to you, Craig.
Okay, thanks a lot, Drew. You like to think so anyway, right?
Well, you really can't tell, based on the crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, and the noise, because the Brewer fans haven't had a whole lot to cheer about in this series.
Ramirez, first batter up for the Cubs, fouls this one off down 0-2. Now, I was talking to Jim Edmonds during batting practice about that. He said it's interesting being in the Brewer dugout and hearing it. He said it reminded him of his days when he was in Anaheim, when Red Sox and Yankee fans would come in. And he said before Anaheim was good, he said the place was always filled with everyone, it seemed like, but Angel fans.
Yeah, well, back when I was with the Angels, that was the case. Yankees and as you mentioned, the Red Sox would come in, and it would be a majority of the fans would be rooting against our team, the Angels. But you can understand it. I mean, the Cubs travel well wherever they go.
Right.
I don't care if you're in San Diego or Florida, but Milwaukee is so close to Chicago. You can understand why they have so many Cub fans. A lot of the people that come to Miller Park can't get tickets to Wrigley Field, so this is their only opportunity to really see a Cub game. We'll take their money. We don't mind.
Well,
we'd certainly like to see them go home upset once in a while. It hasn't happened in a while.
The Cubs have a pretty good record going here at Miller Park. There's no doubt about that. Ramirez to center. Edmonds catches up with it for the first out. In fact, the Cubs have the best record for a road team at Miller Park over the last 5 years, with their 2 wins in this series already, 20-11 during that span. That's pretty remarkable.
Well, lately the Brewers have played the Cubs better at Wrigley Field than they have here at Miller Park.
There's Tyler Colvin, the center fielder. Big 2 RBI double in the first inning. Off Dave Bush. This one right over for a strike from Dave Bush.
It's kind of an odd situation, because when the Cubs crept into Miller Park, and that's basically what they did, they had lost 5 of 6 games. They were 6-10 coming into Miller Park. They won a couple in a row.
This one fouled away. 0-2 the count.
You look at the two teams and the momentum that both teams had going in. I mean, could you have any better momentum, if there's such a thing in baseball? And I'm for one, don't believe in momentum day to day. It's all about the starting pitcher. Your pitcher provides the momentum for you. But could things have gone any better for the Brewers in Pittsburgh? Things didn't go very well for the Cubs in New York, and things have completely turned around.
0-2 on the way, misses down low, 1-2. There's Chris Narveson. He's hoping to provide some type of momentum on Wednesday, when he'll make his first start of 2010. And some of the reasoning behind Narveson getting the nod is Jeff Suppan now out in the bullpen, and we understand that he'll be available really starting tomorrow for work out of the bullpen.
Well, he made a start on Friday, so probably not available yet.
Colvin to right, deep, and it is out of here. A solo shot this time for Colvin. And now the Cubs grab a 6-0 advantage here in the 3rd inning.
No, David just hadn't been able to get the baseball down today. His first 3 starts, he's been doing a masterful job of finding the corners, keeping the baseball down. That ball right down the middle of the plate, up around the belt, and Tyler Colvin gave it a ride. I will say this, Tyler Colvin has a nice swing, and he can hit. He's going to be around Chicago a long time. Made the team out of spring training. He had a monster spring training, equivalent to what Casey McGee did a year ago. Made the team, and he's been getting a A little bit of playing time lately, getting some starts. He started Friday for Soriano.
Yep, and Soriano up at the plate right now, and this time Coleman is in center field, so he's versatile, and that's a good thing for his part because they obviously need his bat.
Giving Marlon Byrd a day off, a guy that's been red hot. Now getting back to the starting pitching situation, Jeff Suppan just wasn't able to get the job done in that starting rotation. Both of his starts, not able to get deep enough into ball games. You give Narveson the opportunity. He really pitched well in spring training. Struggled a little bit as of late. His last 3 or 4 appearances out of the bullpen have not gone all that well. Manny Parr has been doing a great job out of the bullpen. Still hasn't given up a run, which is probably why Ken Maka has decided to keep Manny out in the bullpen. The issue right now, though, is Manny is now the only left-hander in the bullpen. Brewers started the season with 3. Now there's only 1. And Manny's really not a left-handed specialist, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on as time goes on. You'd love to be able to get Mitch Stetter back in the fold out in that bullpen.
Soriano lines it right to Counsell for the second out of the inning. Time now for our carsoup.com email the booth question. When a pitch is in the dirt and the umpire takes the ball out of play, is it ever put back into play? Tim from South Milwaukee wants to know.
It goes into the batting practice bag. That's where it goes. They take it out of play because hitters don't like it when a baseball hits the dirt. It gets a scuff on it. Pitchers like throwing baseballs with marks on them, scuffs on them, maybe a cut.
So that ball is never used again.
Not in a game.
That's why they go through about a dozen or so balls minimum. I mean boxes.
Try 4 or 5 dozen. Easy. 8 dozen in a game.
Rounder to Weeks. That's the final out of the 3rd inning. But the Cubs get 1 on the home run by Coleman.
Favorite Brewers to the 2010 All-Star team. Vote early, vote often, and vote Brewers now through July 1st at Brewers.com.
Back at Miller Park, Dave Bush set to lead off the bottom of the 3rd inning. He's had a tough time out on the mound here this afternoon. As you see a picture of the packed Miller Park here on this Sunday afternoon. 6-0 though, Brewers trail on the scoreboard. See if Dave Bush can jumpstart his team. Those were career numbers for Dave Bush, yet to get a base hit here in 2010. Outstanding outing in his last time on the pitching mound at Pittsburgh. Can't duplicate it here at Miller Park next time out. On the way, in for a strike. Randy Wells 1-0 with a 2.45 on the season, looking for his second win of the year. And he, like Dave Bush, could have a much better record than 1-0 coming into this game.
Man, no doubt.
Strike three called. Bush not happy, slams his bat down.
I wouldn't do that, Dave. It'd be nice to get that same pitch when you're out on the mound. Looked like a pretty good pitch. Where is it? Low? It had the plate. I think Dave thought it was low. But James Hoy rings him up.
So Ricky Weeks comes up. Rounded out the third his first time. Randy Wells delivers to Weeks. In for a strike. He was in the mix for Rookie of the Year a year ago, as was Casey McGee. Finished 6th in the balloting, a 12-10 record. Count even at a ball and a strike.
Yeah, the amazing thing about Randy Wells, in 27 starts, he'd only allowed 14 home runs. That's not many when you play half of your games or pitch half of your games at Wrigley Field. You know how the wind blows out there, particularly in the summer. And when he's right, he gets a lot of ground ball outs.
Weeks gets a piece of this one. Count even now at 2-2.
Coming in, Dave Bush and Randy Wells both had given up only 5 runs apiece. So they had both pitched very well. Bush already has given up 6.
Things clearly not going the Brewers' way after it looked like everything was on Thursday. Weeks strikes out, second out of the inning.
High fastball out of the strike zone, about letter high, and Ricky swings right through it. It's amazing how the fortunes of this Brewer offense have turned around, and as quickly as it's happened. 20 runs on Thursday in Pittsburgh. Everything they hit found a hole. They hit a lot of balls hard, but even when they didn't.
This one line down the left field line, bounces off the wall. Counsell chugging in for 2. And he'll hold there as Soriano gets it in from left field. So a 2-out double for Craig Counsell.
Like classic Craig Counsell swing. Look at the pitch up and away. He just drops the head of the bat on it. Notice the way he really concentrates on getting on top and down and through that baseball. And slices it down the left field line. So a base runner for Ryan Braun.
Third double of the season for Counsell. Ryan Braun steps in, got hit by a pitch his first time up. Brewers got 2 on with 1 out in that first inning, but Wells got through the next 2 batters. Ryan Braun, a .579 average with runners in scoring position. That's second in the National League.
And we're getting back to the offensive difference right now for the Brewers, but you take batting practice, you're bound to pop a few balls up, ground some out, but that last game at Pittsburgh was incredible. Everything they touched was a base hit. Now, I'm not saying that the Brewers should have won a couple of games, but every time it seems like they hit the ball hard, it's right at somebody.
One pops it up. Terrio gets underneath it, and that's the final out of the third inning. So 2-out double goes to waste. It's still 6-0 Cubs. Bush. That was in the second. Then in the third, Colvin a solo shot. And Dave Bush and the Brewers trail Chicago here to start out the fourth, 6-0. Time now for our AT&T trivia question. Who is the last team to score 20 runs in a game and follow with 1 run in each of the next 2 games? Same case scenario for the Brewers. You're really stewing over that one. You're thinking about all that momentum that doesn't exist in baseball.
I would be stunned if anybody knew the answer to that.
You'd have to do a lot of research. Soto skies this one. Edmonds to the warning track. Watches it go over his head for a home run. So a leadoff home run for Giovanni Soto. And he homers for the second time this season. And both home runs off Dave Bush.
Well, check out the location. I mean, it looked like a cut fastball that David tried to put on the outside corner, left it right down the middle. Soto waited back and banged it out of here to center field. Man, one of those days for Bush, just can't get the baseball down.
Escobar takes care of Wells for the first out. 7-0 Chicago already here in the fourth inning. Dave Bush has given up 3 home runs in this game. Brewers with just 2 hits, each team with an error. Cubs making the most of their hits. They've got 7 runs on 6 hits in this game.
3 home runs. 1 in each of the last 3 innings.
Terrio's up now for the 3rd time in the game. He has 2 singles already, 2 runs scored, and a stolen base. Continues to do tremendous damage against Brewer pitching. This one fouled away. 0-2 the count on Terrio. Having a heck of a road trip coming into this game. 409 on the road trip for Chicago, which ends today, and they go back home to Wrigley Field to face the Nationals to start a homestand. This one lined right to Craig Counsell for the second out of the inning.
That's how you get him out. You hope he hits it at somebody.
It's a sure out when you hit it right at somebody.
Right.
It should be. So 2 down now as Dave Bush is set to face Fukudome. Top part of the order inflicting a lot of damage. Fukudome homered back in the second. He walked and scored in the first. And looking for the gap here. Has it. Hart will pick it up. Fukudome trots in with another double, another extra base hit against Bush in this game.
Well, Ken Maka is kind of in a tough spot right now. The only real long reliever that he has is Manny Parra, and he is his only left-handed pitcher out in the bullpen right now. I guess if you're looking to see who can be another guy that can go deep and give him some innings, it would be Carlos Villanueva, but Villa's been throwing so well out of the bullpen in kind of a pseudo, somewhat of a setup role for Trevor Hoffman. I'm not sure if you want to use him in that capacity. Everybody else pretty much 1 or 2 inning pitchers.
Derek Lee up to the plate.
Jeff Suppan not available today. He made his start on Friday. So I guess if you're Ken Maka, you're going to ask Dave Bush to stay out there for as long as you can.
He has thrown 71 pitches here in the fourth inning with 2 down. Fukudome out at second base for Derek Lee. Derek Lee struck out his last time up in the second inning. 1-1 high and tight. Two one on the way. Fouled away. Pitches by inning. It was a rough first inning for Bush, 28. But he has given up runs in each inning so far, all four, and trails 7-0. Two to lead. Hammers this one deep left, and another home run given up by Bush in this game. The fourth round tripper already hit by the Cubs, and we're only in the fourth inning.
You got to start getting somebody up at this point. I mean, it's getting to the point where you don't want to lay too much on Dave Bush, but again, we talked about the situation out in the bullpen for Ken Maka. Another pitch out over the plate, up in the strike zone. And Derek Lee hits one into the Harley-Davidson deck. Way back in left center.
That is a ride up there in the Harley-Davidson deck. Rick Peterson, Ken Maka. Get that bullpen going out there now.
Claudio Vargas up.
Yep, Claudio Vargas is up. Nine to nothing Chicago as Bush delivers to Ramirez, who fouls one off. Claudio Vargas, the right-hander, warming up in that Brewer bullpen in the fourth inning. Cubs with their first 4-run home run game of the season.
Well, Dave Bush just can't flirt with the middle of the plate. And check out where it was. It looked like it was down the middle, but pitch tracks had it off the inside corner.
Ramirez pounds another one foul. Brewers trying to get through the fourth inning here without any further damage. This one low and away. 3-2 the count now on Ramirez. Ramirez, one of the few Cubs that has not reached base so far in this game. Strike out and fly to center. And he follows with a base hit. Peterson's going to come out and chat with Bush.
And kind of a tough situation for Dave Bush. I think he realizes what the situation is out in that bullpen. You know, the fact that Jeff Suppan now is out of the starting rotation and in the bullpen and not available, you know, takes away your only long man out there. I mean, if you have Narveson and Parra both in the bullpen, you could throw Manny out there and eat up 3 innings, but I guess at this point you could do that now, but if you have Manny throw, 2-3 innings, it'd be tough for him to be available for tomorrow. You might need him tomorrow against the Pirates. That lefty type situation. So it's one of those situations where Ken Maka really has no choice but to leave Bush out there in this situation. You hate to do it, but there's really no choice.
Tyler Colvin steps in here in the fourth. 2 down, 3 runs already in, and Ramirez at first base. And this one misses outside, ball 1. Colvin homered in the 3rd inning and had a 2 RBI double in the 1st. This one misses low. You know, it's interesting with the Jeff Suppan situation coming in as a starter. Not even 2 weeks ago for the first time. It was a fragile back end of the bullpen, or I should say the starting rotation, the way they had it set up. And now after 2 starts, you move them out.
Right.
And it really does throw things into flux a bit.
Yeah, well, it really does put you in a tough spot in the bullpen. Now there's only one left-hander. That's a thing. And you take one of your long relievers and put him in the starting rotation. So in the event that you have a game like this, you pretty much have to burn your whole bullpen, or you leave Bush out there making him a sacrificial lamb in a game.
2-1 on the way to Colvin. Misses outside, 3-1.
But as well as he's pitched or in his first 3 starts, you hate to do that to him. You hate to lay all these earned runs on him.
You also mentioned Mitch Stetter not being here. Obviously at AAA, that move was made to make room to put Suppan on the active roster.
Right.
3-1. That's in for a strike. Count full now. Dave Bush with 86 pitches here in the 4th inning.
Well, you have a guy coming in 3 starts with a 241 earned run average. It's going to just blow that to smithereens in 1 start.
Coleman, base hit to right. Inning continues for Chicago. And Ramirez takes 3rd.
I'm not sure how much more he's going to allow Dave Bush to stay out there. I mean, here comes Ken Maka now. Doesn't want to do it, but he's got to. Just can't leave him out there much longer.
So Claudio Vargas is set to come in for the Brewers. Moved to the bullpen way too early than the Brewers ever would have anticipated.
Is a fastball away in a good location. He wants to work on pitching and location. Here's Ken Maka talking about the switch.
Wednesday, we're going to have Chris Narveson start. Talked to Jeff today, and we asked him to go out into the bullpen for us. He was extremely professional about the whole thing. We felt that, what Chris had done last September and in spring training gives him a chance to get out there and show what he can do in a starting role.
Now, guys, the reason we're seeing Claudio Vargas today instead of last night is because Ken Maka knew what was coming with Narveson and Suppan, and he wanted to stretch Narveson out a little bit, almost like a side session last night.
Soriano drives this one to right and deep, but Hart on the warning track in front of the wall hauls it in, and the inning finally comes to an end. Chicago tags 3 more here in the 4th. Did not know that.
How about that?
How about that?
He beat 6 innings in his first start here. If you make plays like that, and some double plays to get out of innings, it's workable. And you're right, if you don't walk a lot of guys, keep the ball in the park for the most part.
Good fastball there. Yeah, 18 home runs in just 70 innings of work with the Phillies. And the year before, 29 home runs in 190 innings. Those are fairly big home run numbers. But that ballpark in Philadelphia is a home run haven. And before you jump on me and go, what about this place? Well, this place does give up some cheap home runs, but it plays much more neutral than a lot of people realize.
Oh, yeah. Ball very well here to right center. And hit it. If Michael Bourne's playing center field, it's an out. But in Philadelphia, it's way out. Out of the way, still 1-2.
Edmonds flew out in the first inning. Season average rate about 300 now. Goes the other way. Base hit. 2 straight hits to open up the 4th for Milwaukee. That'll bring up Corey Hart.
Just keep pecking away. Keep the Cubs off the board and do what you.
Saved who's the top shortstop in the majors and runs saved. That requires a lot of judgments, but it's interesting to read. There's a whole lot of attention being paid right now to the defensive side of baseball. Strike three. Crosby's caught looking, and Myers is out of fourth inning trouble. With no runs ahead, 2 men stranded. Pirates have had constant traffic on the bases, but the Astros lead it 5-1.
Don't be discouraged. The man, he ain't so hard to understand. Chico, if you try now, I know that you can get a helping.
Do we have a look where we should see the base runner on going between first and second?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we can just. I mean, I think the play is a double play. I think the play is to go to second base there, but I don't fault him given the nature of the fact that he's on his hands and knees. Just getting it out there is pretty darn good.
We got Bass. Bass. It is 5-1, and the Astros have really used the escapability skills of Brad Myers in this one to keep the Pirates to 1 run on the scoreboard. First of all, he's allowed only singles, 7 of them, JD.
It has been impressive work. This date in Astros history is brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center, making cancer history. 30 years ago today, J.R. Richard picks up career win number 100 as the Astros beat the Metropolitans 7-4. Here's that play Brett Myers made in the top half of the inning. Runners on first and second. A sharply hit ball. Looked like trouble. But he makes a heck of a play. Quick glove down to the hands and knees. And you know, the optimal play might have been to try to get 2, but hard to fault a guy who's on his hands and knees after making a play like that. You'll see the base runner off first. He may have been able to get a double play. But just to get an out was big. And the bottom line is he posted a 0 in that inning.
Now he bats against the relief pitcher Brian Bass, just in the game for Morton. Just joining this ball club today. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bass, 28 years old, from Pinehurst, North Carolina. 9-7 as a major leaguer with a 4.87 ERA and 4 complete games in 97 appearances. Runs that went in on Myers. Last year, Brian with Baltimore was 5-3. His ERA with the Orioles was 4.90 in 48 games as a reliever.
We go to the 5th inning. So look at the line score. The
At a 455 on base average for this homestand coming into this game. 4 stolen bases. He now has scored 6 runs on this homestand.
Ryan Doman behind home plate shaking his head. Do I have to deal with Bourne again? Can we at least throw this guy a strike?
Jeff Keppinger's 0 for 2.
Phil Bass, as Brownie mentioned, born in Pinehurst. He went to high school in Montgomery, Alabama. 6th-round pick of the Royals back in 2000. Spent some big league time with the Twins back in 08, as well as the Orioles. Red light, green light, red light.
Astros have stolen 3 bases. The Astros have a .713 winning percentage here against the Pirates since Minute Maid Park opened. 57 wins, 23 losses. That's their second best against any team. Pitch out there, Brown holding.
Pitch out. It was fairly close. You got to be careful. Yeah, like Keppinger might go out there and slap one to right on you.
He certainly could.
Pitching out there on 0-0, puts his pitcher in the hole.
One goes. Doman's throw is not in time.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you pitch out on 0-0 and they're not going. Awfully tough to call back-to-back pitch outs unless you got a guy in the mound who feel like can come back from 2-0. Basically, Doman is at the mercy of the situation and not even close at second base.
Fourth steal by an Astro today. That's number 6 for Michael Bourne this year. He's going to third without a throw.
Run, Michael, run. See Michael run. Run, run, run. Somebody's going to make a book for kids here in Houston. Sell it in the high school or the grade schools. Hopefully not the high schools. Hopefully we're beyond that.
Now the infield comes in. 5 steals for the Astros.
Yeah, and with all that distraction created by Bourne, the pitch out, and leads to a 4-pitch walk to Keppinger, and the Astros set up for another potential big inning. The middle of the order comes up here.
Carlos Lee is 1 for 2. He stole a base and scored. Previous high in a game for the Astros this year for steals was 2.
Not a waste to catch the Rangers, though. They got 9 the other day against the Red Sox.
Wow. Is that the Tim Wakefield game?
Yeah.
Dave Clark moving around near third base. Michael Bourne is there. With a 1-0 count. McCutchen back into right center field. There's a flyer by Lee. It goes all the way to the right center field wall. Scoring Bourne. Keppinger around third. Lee heads for third base. And the throw gets by and goes out of play, and he will score. 3 runs coming home on the play to give the Astros an 8-1 lead.
That's a Little League home run.
Carlos with 2 runs batted in to give him 5.
Don't tell me those days off aren't a good idea. Carlos came out here today ready to rock and roll. Singled and stole a base, scored last time, and now this triple. Slider away. Fastball out of third. Well, actually, according to Fox Tracks, right down Broadway, and he jumps all over it.
Lance Berkman looks at ball 1.
That's just 15 pitches. Only 5 in the strike zone.
Strike evens the count at 1-1 as Carlos Lee Bob Norris is doing the honors. Cooling off the big stallion. He should get a pretty good pulse on him right now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a mad dash around the bases. 2-run triple, then an error allows him to score. It's his first triple of the year. Workman rolls over on that one, hits a foul ball. Carlos with 14 triples in his major league career. The Astros really have become a much more efficient offensive club during this homestand. 8 runs on 6 hits today. They have taken those walks to the bank. There have been 4 of those and a hit batsman. Cashing in. They're preventing the Pirates from cashing in on their base runners. 2-2. Pirates have had 7 hits, but they've all been singles. They lost a runner at first on a double play on the fly ball to Bourne. They've had a caught stealing. Darkman fouls it. Still 2-2. Take a look at that throwing problem. McCutchen gets it back into Crosby, and Crosby's throw gets by LaRoche. The error on Crosby. Five stolen bases, the most by an Astros team since the 06 team at Washington. Workman strikes out. Let's go back to that trivia question.
What was the trivia question?
The most appearances by an Astro in one season.
Stretch Suba.
Was it Octavio Dotel? He had 83 in 2002. Good to see him back.
14 hits now for Chicago in this game. Fukudome up with the runner at second, into center. Edmonds has to watch it, and a base hit for Fukudome. So runners in the corner again, 1 down here in the 5th inning. Cubs have scored at least 1 run in every inning so far.
Well, swinging at the first pitch, Fukudome able to get it in front of Edmonds in center field. Didn't hit it all that well. Sounded like it was off the handle. This one's getting out of hand in a hurry.
Fukudome with a walk, a homer, a double, and a single. And we're only in the 5th. Derek Lee, who hit a monster home run to left center's last time up, steps in. Escobar to Weeks to Fielder. And a double play, and the Brewers get out of it, but the Cubs score 2 more here in the 5th. It's closed. Big crowd on hand, and it's been a disappointing series up to the moment for the Brewers against the Cubs. They trail 11-1 in this game, just 4 base hits off of Wells, and Inglet will come up to pinch hit for Milwaukee. In that pitcher spot, Claudio Vargas pitching in a span over 2 innings. And Wells pitching a gem against Milwaukee so far here. Inglet to center. That's the first out of the inning.
Today's Tower of the Game winner is Newt's Bar and Grill in, let's see what this one is, Orfordville, Wisconsin. I've never heard of Orfordville.
Yeah, Orfordville.
You know what that is?
It's over towards Madison.
Okay, are you sure?
I think.
If the Tavern Contact calls the Brewers in the next 24 hours at 414-902-4572, Newt's gets 40 tickets in the Miller Lite Beer Pen to a 2010 Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite, Orfordville.
Orfordville, Parkview High School, I think it's over there in southwest Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty sure. Ricky Weeks down a strike.
So I don't have to map quest it?
You may want to double check. We have time. Brewers need to rally for you, Rock.
Got to get going.
Todd Coffey warming up in the Brewer bullpen. He should be set to come on in the 6th inning. Ricky Weeks 0 for 2, struck out in the 3rd. Two for 11 in this series. That was pitch number 65 for Wells, who's been extremely efficient.
It's actually west of Beloit.
I said southwest.
Yes, you did.
I'm not going to pull a Mike Vasallo on you, though, Rock.
Okay. West of Beloit on Highway 213.
There you go. Well-traveled Highway 213. Weeks draws it full, 3-2 against Randy Wells. Well on his way to a second victory, unless the Brewers can pull a stunner here, down by 10 runs. Weeks swinging a miss, strike 3.
Follow the Brewers on your iPhone, iPod Touch, BlackBerry, and Android phone with MLB.com At Bat 2010. It features play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Brewers.com today for details.
Let's check in with Drew Olson.
Well, guys, you know Ricky Weeks hates to come out of games no matter what the score, but I'm wondering if that was his last at bat, because Joe Inglet hasn't played a lot, and this is the type of game where they could leave Inglet in to play second base and use the pitcher spot to go into Weeks' slot in the lineup. We'll see.
Council lifts this one down the right field line. It's in there for at least a double, and he's in with a head first slide. 2-out double for Craig Council. That's his second 2-out double of the game.
Well, Council shows you that he can use the whole field. A double down the left field line, this time with a fastball up and in. Tomahawks it down the right field line. So line to line today for Craig Council. He's been on 3 times. Has to hustle into second base. Fukudome got it in quickly.
Council starting at third base, giving Casey McGee the day off. Any chance of Ricky Weeks getting the rest of this day off? Inglet hasn't played the field yet.
That'd be a good idea, maybe, to give Inglet an opportunity to get some playing time. He's the only starter, or I should say the only position player for the Brewers that has not started a game.
Ryan Braun to the runner at second. Ryan Braun got hit by a pitch in the first. and then flew out to short back in the 3rd inning. Officially 0 for 1. Down a strike to Wells. High fly ball center field. Colvin calling for it, drifting towards right, and 3 outs. 5 complete. Cubs still up big.
Tyler Colvin, his 3rd home run, a solo shot. Giovanni Soto getting on the board, making it 7-0, his 2nd home run, and Derek Lee made it 9-1 Cubs, his 4th in the 4th inning.
Bernie is lonely. It's been a lonely homestand for Bernie Brewer. No action down that slide after no home runs yet. And fans will put anything on their head, won't they?
Yes, they will.
I mean anything. Todd Coffey in the pitch now for the Brewers here in the top of the 6th inning. Nine games, ERA at 4.15 out of the bullpen.
They had 2/3 scoreless last night for Todd Coffey. He's appeared in all 3 games in this series. 10th appearance overall for Coffey.
Ramirez fights off that pitch to even the count at 1-1. (11-1) our score right now. The Cubs 4 home runs today. Wells pitching very, very well. 5 innings, only 5 hits and an earned run. And Bush got hit hard, 10 hits. Could not get through the 4th inning. 7 earned runs. Line right to Counsell for the 1st out. That brings up Colvin now, who has been on base his previous 3 times, including a home run back in the 3rd inning.
A bomb up there in the 2nd deck. In the Miller Lite beer pen out there, Tyler Colvin. His 3rd home run of the year. He's off to a good start.
He has a double, a home run, and a single, so he's a triple away from the cycle. He's going to get probably more than just this at-bat before the game is up to try. 4th at bat already in the 6th inning. Fukudome's in the same situation for Chicago. Single, double, and a home run, including a walk. Very productive. Coffey misses 2-0. Outfield situation for the Cubs, kind of similar to the Brewers, kind of rotating 4 players in. Colvin, one of them.
We have Xavier Nady on the bench today. He's a right-handed hitter. He's been playing right field against left-handed pitching. It's ordinarily Soriano in left, Marlon Byrd in center. Bird's not starting today. And Fukudome against lefties and Nady against right-handers. Every now and again, Tyler Colvin in the mix. He's always in the lineup.
Ken Mock at the top of the steps. Todd Coffey's last pitch went way outside, and his on-in fielder came over to try to chat with him, and he said, "I'm okay," but Ken Mock is still at that top step. Dan Wright, one of his trainers, is going to come out with him down there. Going to go out and talk to Coffey, it looks like. So this is on 4 pitches, and Colvin walks.
Let's see if we can see something from Todd Coffey here. You see the way he walks off. Obviously, a pitcher does that. Something's going on.
That looks like he's okay to give it a try.
Whatever it is, Todd Coffey's going to stay out there at least for an inning.
Alfonso Soriano. A sacrifice fly in the first for an RBI. Has not reached base safely in this game. First pitch in for a strike for Coffey. That's a good sign. After he got checked out by the training staff. Big cut and a miss by Soriano. 0-2.
Good slider from Todd Coffey, well located.
Big cut and a miss. Soriano down on strikes. First out of the 6th inning for Chicago. So the Brewers finishing up a 3-game series against Chicago here. They will host Pittsburgh for the next 3, and then another big road trip. This one is going to be out west. Another 9-gamer with a day off on the front end of it.
And they have San Diego Padres, a 4-game series. San Diego in first place in the West, 11-6.
They've won 8 straight games. They're the hottest team in the majors right now.
Yeah, they're 7-2 at home. Petco Park.
And Rock, they're already known to pitch very well there. They have a major league best 2.73 ERA right now.
That's a good pitcher's ballpark, Petco.
Yeah, you bet.
Deep alleys. Ball doesn't carry all that well.
Brewers did very well in their last road trip, though, 5-4. That was a positive sign. Winning on the road is tough. Fontenot fouls this away. Count remains 0-2.
Yeah, started that road trip 1-4, ended up 4-0.
Got to get the home record straightened out, though. Check swing, ball in the dirt. And Fontenot's out to end the inning. Fortran. Go. There's nothing stopping you. And by GMC, we are professional grade. And the Big Sausage Relay here on this Sunday. This copyright telecast is presented by the authority of the Milwaukee Brewers Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers Baseball Club. Rich Fielder will lead off the Brewers half of the 6th inning. Little bouncer back to Wells. An easy 1-3. How about Milwaukee in its sports week? Bucks, of course, winning this weekend, and Cubs and Brewers series here. But tomorrow, Bucks Live will kick things off for Game 4 of the playoffs between the Hawks and the Bucks. And then the Pirates and Brewers are on at 7 o'clock. And then Tuesday, the Pirates and the Brewers start at 6:30 with coverage. And then Wednesday, a day game. All that action here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Tomorrow night, Brewers on WMLW to help accommodate everything and make sure the TVN's all covered for everybody. You gonna miss me tomorrow?
I am. Always do.
Wish you could be down at the Bradley Center for at least a game. It was pretty electric last night.
Yeah, I heard. I know some folks that were down there last night. The Bradley Center was loud. Everybody in red. I don't get, though. Everybody was dressed in red, and the Hawks were wearing red yesterday.
See, they spoiled the party.
What was that?
They wore that alternate ATL uniform.
They didn't get the memo?
They did not get the memo.
They can't do that.
Josh Smith would have had something to do for a few days in Milwaukee if he would have maybe sent a memo out to the team.
He's kind of bored in Milwaukee?
He's kind of bored in Milwaukee.
That's too bad.
Know any good restaurants in Milwaukee?
Tons.
He didn't get that memo either.
I'll be sure to. I'll be more than happy to tell him where to go.
Talking about restaurants.
Oh, okay. All the different cuisines are covered. I've got a notebook.
There is quite a European flavor in this town. A lot of good choices.
Unbelievable.
Edman strikes out, flips the bat. 2 down in the Brewers 6th. Replay fueled by Gatorade returns with an all-new season. High school teammates reunite 11 years later in Hockey Town. Follow the journey of Catholic Central and Trenton. ReplayTheSeries.com. Is that nearby home? New Jersey?
No. Trenton, New Jersey is not Hockey Town. There's a lot of names that they have given Trenton, New Jersey, and Hockey Town's not one of them.
No?
It is home for me, though, Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah. I knew there was something about home. Just not Hockey Town.
No.
Corey Hart up with 2 down. Ramirez. An easy inning for Wells here in the 6th. Score remains 11-1 Chicago. For standing by us. For more information, visit And by Toyota. Thank you for standing by us. For more information, visit buyatoyota.com. Nice view of the Milwaukee River downtown, Milwaukee. Take a look at our Ho-Chunk Gaming text the broadcast question. Could Jim Edmonds win Comeback Player of the Year even though he did not play last season? Jim from Denmark wants to know.
I think so. I mean, that by definition. A lot of times you get a guy that was on the disabled list, had surgery, came back and had a terrific year. Those are the kind of guys that will win that award. It's not just for players that had a miserable season and then came back and did well. So he could certainly be qualified for the comeback player.
LaTroy Hawkins in right now for the Brewers. In 8 games, his record 0-2, and of course he had a couple of opportunities to keep the Brewers in front, and things did not work out well for him, and he's had a little bit of time and trying to straighten out his game now. So he comes in here in the 7th inning. He was the 8th inning guy in the first week and a half.
Well, you remember the first homestand of the season, the first week, and it was lights out. I mean, he came in and 3 up and 3 down just about every time out. His first 3 appearances were very good. Road trip, not so great. You can see much better lately, though.
Soto fouls this one away, down in the count now, 1-2. Soto's had a very productive afternoon, a home run, a single, a walk. He scored 2 runs. Keeping that hot bat even hotter here in Milwaukee.
Every position player for the Cubs was at least 1 base hit except for Soriano. But he drove in a run in the first with a sac fly.
Grounded to Counsell, bobbles, sets himself, and makes the out to fielder. What's on tap? Our upcoming Brewers schedule tomorrow against Pittsburgh on WMLW. Game time at just after 7 o'clock, and then Tuesday and Wednesday back here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Wednesday is an afternoon game, a noon start, 11:30 coverage here on the network. And then it's getaway to San Diego, then Los Angeles and Phoenix, Arizona to play the Diamondbacks to conclude another long road trip in the first month of the season.
It's interesting that the Brewers' first 3 road trips are all 3-city trips. After the long swing, the 10-day trip to the West Coast, the Brewers come home, and then they have a 3-city trip through Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Both of those are 2-game series, and then they go to Minnesota for interleague play. So that's unusual.
Trying to get them all out of the way early. Who knows, right? If you play well, you kind of feel that way.
Yeah, I think that's those are the only 3-city trips.
Wells down in the count, 0-2. Remember, not too long ago, it seemed like there were 4 and 5 3-city trips that this team had to go on.
Right.
Remember some of those?
Yeah. 3 different times the Brewers go out to the West Coast.
Part of the reason interleague play, because they have to play the Angels out there this year.
They have to go out to Anaheim and play the Angels, and then they have to go back out and play San Francisco.
They play at Colorado twice this year, too?
Checking. Yes.
Wells hanging tough, fouls another one back.
Play the Rockies in Colorado in June, and then go back in August. See, now I was able to dig that information up by myself.
Did you ask the question?
Didn't need the guy in the cage. It's always good to have a magnetic schedule at your disposal.
Well, you've got a metal shelf or desk or something over there. What do you call that? I mean, it's kind of like an office for you.
It's my stuff. That's where I keep my stuff.
So it's not a cubicle or a desk. It's just where you keep your stuff.
This is my desk right here, my office. I've got my magnetic schedule and the 5 Clements Racing sausages. The magnetic dudes down here.
Yeah. Nice decorations.
Yeah.
And Troy Hawkins cannot put away Wells. Here's the 1-2. Slaps it down the right field line. Corey Hart giving chase. Fair ball in the corner. And Wells is going to trot in with a double. What an at-bat for the pitcher of the Cubs. Falling behind in the count and then fouling away several pitches and then getting a double the other way.
Now every spot in the batting order for the Cubs with at least one base hit, except for Soriano. Right down the right field line. Everybody getting into the act today for Chicago.
Top of the order now, and Ryan Theriot, the shortstop. 2 singles and a double, 2 runs scored in this game. This one just fair. Bounces over to Corey Hart now, and Wells will score. Run number 12 for Chicago. Fair by inches or less.
This guy's living in a tree. Everything he swings at seems to be a base hit. The only time the Brewers are able to get him out, a line drive bullet to Counsell in the 4th inning.
3 RBIs now for Theriot on the afternoon.
He likes the ball up in the strike zone. Good high ball hitter, and the Brewers have been giving him pitches up in the strike zone all day. Hits the chalk line down the right field line.
That brings up Fukudome, who has a home run, a double, and a single in this game. A triple away from the cycle. Scored 3 runs. Having a big series. Season average up to 340. Theriot, by the way, it's his second 4-hit game, and both have come against Milwaukee this year.
You sound surprised. That guy wears out Brewer pitching.
It's unbelievable.
It is. It's amazing.
You got to pitch to him, though.
Yeah.
Fukudome ahead in the count now, 2-1. Here's Fukudome's day. Big home run for him in the 2nd inning. And a double to the gap of the 4th. Single in the 5th. And he also walked in his first at bat. Big cut and miss, even the count at 2-2.
Yeah, 1-2 in the batting order for the Cubs. 7 for 8 today, with 5 runs scored.
Two on the way. Fouled back. So with Troy Hawkins taking his time trying to get the cleat set behind the rubber there. You know, he was part of a on-court instructional when the team was in town in January for Bucks basketball.
LaTroy?
Troy came down, worked with John McLaughlin and
he's tall enough to be a basketball
Tony Smith
player. He's a big man.
What you got on tap for the on-field instructional tonight?
I'm going slow today. You know, Davey's still laid up. He's got the boot on the leg.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Davey. I know he enjoys the instructional. That's what we're talking about. Look how 6'5", 195 for LaTroy Hawkins. What's 6'5"? That's about a point guard in the NBA?
No, shooting guard.
Shooting guard?
Yeah.
What do they call that, a 2?
2.
It's pretty good, isn't it? Huh?
You're on it, man. You watch a lot of Bucks basketball, and you can see a lot from your on your court seats.
Yeah, I get those once in a while. Get those through the company. And just off the outside corner.
So Fukudome draws the count full, 1 down, runner at first. Run already in here in the 7th inning, and he walks.
I know the Brewers are going to be glad to see the Cubs get out of town. The Pirates had a tough time against the Brewers. The tail end of that road trip. Danny McCutcheon had a tough time against the Brewers. Zach Duke, the season high runs that he allowed, 5. Brewers did not see Paul Mahalem in that series. The Pirates are going to have to go up against the top 2 starters for the Brewers, Gallardo and Randy Wolf, both winners in their last start. And Chris Narveson, his first start of the year.
That'll come on Wednesday afternoon. Lee pops it to right. Corey Hart getting under it. Two down in the 7th inning for Ramirez.
And the thing that amazes me about you, partner, is that you can go from basketball to baseball and back again and then back again. You really don't seem to miss a beat. How do you do that?
I don't know if I don't miss a beat. Sometimes I'm not in sync at all.
And you're at the Bradley Center doing, Bucks Live and post game, and here you are calling baseball.
Only because you'll allow it.
Me?
Yeah.
I welcome it.
To get the green light from somebody.
Yeah, and me. You're always welcome.
It's always good to be here.
Yeah. That can't be easy, though. Telly going back and forth.
Telly hosting the shows today, and we'll both be down at the Bradley Center tomorrow.
Folks on the crew.
Our crew does the same thing.
This is a time, a lot of work for everybody.
Ramirez in the gap. Hart catches up to it for the final out in the 7th inning. Cubs get 1 and now lead it 12-1.
Welcome back to Miller Park, where the Brewers trail the Cubs 12-1 here in the bottom of the 7th. Telly Hughes, Davey Nelson here, getting yourself for Brewers Live, presented by Lincoln Mercury and Davey. So far this season for the Brewers, it seems like whenever they put on the home whites, they play from behind.
Well, they certainly do, and it gets a little depressing at times when you're behind early in the ball game and you're facing a tough pitcher. It is hard to battle back.
Well, the Brewers are having to do just that, and coming up in our post-game report, we'll hear from the Brewers. We'll go inside the clubhouse, and our on-field instructional will actually take us in the bullpen, where Rock will give us a tour and find out what those guys do for 2.5, 3 hours before they actually have to come in and pitch. We'll have all that coming up after the game. Let's send it back up to Craig and Rock.
Okay, guys, appreciate that. Couple of defensive replacements for Chicago, as you saw there. Tracy over at first now and Baker at third, as they have a commanding 11-run lead over the Brewers.
I knew there was a question that you asked me last inning. I forgot what it was. We got off into Troy Hawkins and the NBA and things. And, Marcus Hanel, the Brewers bullpen catcher, is going to talk about what he does. We're going to go into the visitors' bullpen and talk about what goes on in there during the game.
Perfect. It's a good time to do that on Sundays.
I will venture that not too many people have ever seen the inside of the bullpen. I mean, there's the angle that you see all the time, but you really don't see, get in there with the cameras and get a first-hand look.
Zahn lines out to center for the first out. Join the Bucks in Fox Sports Wisconsin as Palermo's Pizza present Bucks Playoff Red Fest. Come down to the Bradley Center tomorrow night. Get going about 2.5 hours before the game to enjoy live music, food, and meet some of the Bucks and Fox Sports Wisconsin personalities. To learn more, visit foxsportswisconsin.com. Okay, one down here in the 7th inning, and Alcides Escobar steps up for the Brewers. 0 for 2, grounded into a rare double play in the 2nd inning. Tough to double him up. That's just kind of how the day has gone. Cubs have even taken speed off the base paths, and this time it gets a single in the left.
Yeah, Wells hasn't left too many pitches up in the strike zone today. Left that one up down the middle, and Escobar able to get on top of it and bang it right back through the middle.
So Escobar on for the first time via the base hit. 6 hits now for Milwaukee. That brings up Joe Inglet now, who took over at second base back in the 5th inning after he pinch hit in the pitcher spot, the number 9 spot in the order. Right down the right field line. Fair ball. Inglet on his way to second base. Fukudome chasing this one down. Escobar easily scores using his speed. And the Brewers get run number 2 of the afternoon.
How about Joe Inglet? I mean, here's a guy that's done a nice job coming off the bench. Not an easy thing to do is to get up there 2-3 times a week and get base hits, but he's figured out ways to do it. And a lot of extra base hits for Inglet. Tucks one inside that first baseline and drives in a run. Escobar able to score all the way from first base. That's his 3rd extra base hit for Inglet in 4 hits. Got 2 triples and now a double.
That brings up Jody Garrett now, pinch hitting in the pitcher spot, which is the leadoff spot in the order. As it turns out, high fly ball. Fukudome going back on the warning track before he chases this one down for the out, and Inglet tags and goes to 3rd. And Garrett likes jumping on that first pitch, and he's had some success with it. Hit a pinch hit home run on the road trip in Pittsburgh.
Hey, you see that a lot with pinch hitters. I mean, you don't go up there trying to work the count too much. You get one at bat. If you get a fastball that you like, you go after it.
That brings up Craig Counsell. Our Wendy's at the plate for Counts. He's reached all 3 times, including the last 2 by doubles. He's got a runner at 3rd with 2 outs. Takes a hack at that first pitch. It's foul. Good Sunday afternoon for families to come out to Miller Park. fans kind of stunned, though, that the team was not able to produce much offense at all in this 3-game series against the Cubs. Just their 4th run of the whole 3-game series. There's a look for you, Rock. How do you do that?
A lot of gel.
Counsel. Foul ball. Call it product.
A lot of product.
A lot of product.
There you go.
There's some more product.
Looks good on him. It's not the kind of hairdo that would really work with a headset.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's why I don't have that kind of hairdo.
Or a batting helmet. Counsell strikes out. The Brewers get a run here in the 7th. Still trail. The weather, because you can always close the roof. It's been closed all weekend and needed because of the drizzly weather.
Check out our Jimmy John delivery of the game. This is a double play turned by Escobar to end the 5th inning. Nifty backhand play, and Ricky Weeks able to turn the double play with no problem. Derek Lee getting down the line. Our Jimmy John delivery of the game.
Carlos Villanueva on now in the 8th inning for Milwaukee on the mound. 5th Brewer pitcher used, including the starter Dave Bush, who could not get through 4 innings. Rough outing for him this afternoon. But Carlos Villanueva has really looked strong out of the bullpen.
And you have to really take these appearances in a game like this very seriously if you're Villanueva. The tendency is to let down a little bit. He has pitched so well. I mean, he's been tremendous. When you look at his numbers, it's amazing. He's appeared in 7 games. He's thrown 9 innings, and he's got 14 strikeouts.
And I know it was several weeks ago, but he was the biggest question mark pitching-wise coming out of spring training, right?
And it wasn't a guarantee that he was going to make the ball club. It came down to Jeff Suppan going on the disabled list to start the season. Villanueva was brought to Milwaukee, and he has turned out to be maybe the most consistent reliever out of that pen so far this year.
Colvin's had quite a day as he draws the count now to 3-1, a triple shy of the cycle. Doubled, homered, and singled, and then walked. He's been on base all 4 previous times. 3-1 on the way. Strike 2. Last Cub to hit for the cycle was Mark Grace back in 1993.
Just can never figure out why a guy in a 10-run lead takes a 3-1 pitch right down the middle like that. But he did.
Fouled this one back. Crowd of more than 38,000 here at Miller Park this afternoon. Good crowds all 3 games, of course, in this series.
I'm expecting nice crowds against the Pirates this week. Spring Madness.
Take that discount and come to the ballpark, right?
Half price tickets.
Yep.
$1 Clemens hot dogs and small Pepsis.
Perfect.
A good week.
Fielder finally says, Colvin, go back to the dugout. Don't want you out here anymore.
Yeah, good change up by Villanueva. He left it upstairs, but Colvin able to wait back, hit it hard to Prince. Perfectly timed leap for the big man. Major League Baseball and People magazine are looking for individuals who make a difference in their community. 30 everyday All-Stars will be honored at the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. To nominate, go to peopleallstars.com.
Villanueva delivers to Alfonso Soriano, one of the Cubs' hottest hitters coming into the game, but surprisingly has not reached base yet in 4 previous trips. Does have a sacrifice for an RBI that happened way back in the first. 12-2 Chicago. They pounded out 16 hits against Brewer pitching in this game. And this one nearly hits Soriano, gets past Zone.
Trying to come inside, got it up there a little bit too close, up around the helmet.
Slaps this one foul. Well, the Brewers are scheduled to go out west, of course, after they close out this homestand. One of the teams they won't face, however, until September, as you mentioned earlier, was San Francisco. How about Barry Zito improving to 3-0 for the Giants?
Yeah, he's turning things around.
To the gap and left. Braun cuts it off and holds Soriano to a single. Another base hit for Chicago. That's number 17 on the afternoon.
Been a nightmare out there on the mound for Milwaukee. A changeup and Soriano out in front, but that big long bat able to hook it into left field. Been a long day out there on the bump for Brewer pitching.
Certainly has. Fontenot now up, down to the count 0-1. Zito threw a shutout again yesterday. San Francisco has 4 already in the month of April as a staff.
And they've got the freak out there too, right? Lincecum.
Yeah,
he's off to a pretty good start. That's what they call him. I'm not calling him that.
I know that.
That's his nickname. I know you did. You know, sometimes, today some of my comments have been taken out of context a bit. Just want to make sure that I'm not getting on him at all. That's his nickname.
Well, he's got the hair going. He's not a big guy, but throws hard.
Throws hard. Back-to-back Cy Youngs.
Yep. Right back at Villanueva. to Escobar to Fielder. Nice double play. He takes over at second base midway through the game for Ricky Weeks. Nothing other than to give him some time in the infield, which he has not gotten yet this year. James Russell now comes in. Wells goes 7 strong innings. Gives up just the 2 runs in this game on 7 base hits, 6 strikeouts.
Yeah, one of the few bright spots coming out of that bullpen for Lou Piniella has been James Russell. His 8th appearance this year, a .338 earned run average. He's only walked 1 and struck out 5. One of 3 lefties available to Piniella in the bullpen.
Ryan Braun will face him to open up the Brewers half of the 8th inning. Hops this one up foul. Looks like it may drift into the seats and does. So Ryan Braun and the Brewers very, very quiet offensively in this game. Braun came in tied with the National League leaders with 20 RBIs. Second in hits as well, and total bases. Trevor Hoffman getting loose in the Brewer bullpen. He came in relief in that rout in Pittsburgh to get some work in because it hasn't had a lot of game action, and these aren't the times you want to see Trevor Hoffman so much.
No. Well, last save opportunity was the last game at Wrigley Field. It's been a while.
Ryan Braun in the series just 1 for 10. With that season average at .371, he tells you what kind of a start to April he had. And grounds out to third. Let's check in now with Drew Olson.
Hey guys, time for our crew in the community. You see somebody with an orange t-shirt asking you for $2, give it to them. They'll hand you a ticket for a chance to win 50% of the net raffle sales for that day in the Brewers 50-50 raffle. The remaining proceeds benefit the programs of the Brewers Community Foundation.
Okay, Drew.
Just to let you know, you're not eligible.
I wondered why I didn't get a coupon. I just kept giving him my money.
You can give him the $2, but you can't win.
All right. Got that straight.
I mean, you and I can't, and everybody else can.
in all seriousness, it's been a pretty good deal for everybody. The Brewers benefit each game, and a lucky fan wins some decent amount of cash.
Yeah, the Brewers have really made a commitment to the charities and community relations here in Milwaukee. They've done a fabulous job, and it's been a nice addition to their charitable efforts in Milwaukee, that 50-50 raffle.
Jim Edmonds now 1 for 3 in this game. Fouls this one back. Really enjoying his time staying in the Central Division of the National League.
Comfort level with the pitching. The travel relatively easy compared to the other divisions.
Boy, it really is.
Well, those teams on the West Coast really have it tough when you talk about travel. I played out there in Anaheim for a couple of years, and boy, there aren't any short trips.
Edmonds again fouls it back. Well, it's pretty amazing. You look at the Brewer road trips this year, they're pretty tidy for the most part. I think under 10,000 miles. But you look at some of the West and East Coast teams traveling, 23, 25,000, maybe 30,000 miles in a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's an enormous amount of time in the air. Edmonds strikes out to end the 8th inning. Cubs holding with a 12-2 advantage. Takes over at first base for the first time this year, and Carlos Gomez will mine left field. And the new pitcher is Trevor Hoffman. Makes his second consecutive appearance in a lopsided ball game. He's got 3 saves and 5 opportunities on the year. ERA over 10. Of course, he ran into some rough going there in 2 consecutive save opportunities in a row.
I need to keep him sharp. You hope that the Brewers are going to need him in this Pittsburgh series. Opportunities for Trevor have been few and far between since that last save opportunity in Chicago. It's kind of the way things go for closers. We talked about the Brewers offense being feast or famine so far this year. It's kind of the way it is with closers. Then you go a week to 10 days without a whole lot of work, and then they need you 3-4 days in a row.
And you can't save them all either. So, I mean, there's certain stretches when your team's going even so well that you can't pitch in all those wins either. But there's quite a gap going on here. Hoffman faces Soto. Dismisses for a ball. Now 1-2 the count. .594 saves throughout his career. Baseball's all-time save leader. Spectacular year a year ago. However, that one started on the disabled list, and things went pretty well for him the rest of the way. Started out fresh here in 2010 and ran into a rut and trying to get back on track.
Yeah, all those saves last year, and it was about this time last year where he came off the disabled list. You can only imagine how many saves he may have had he started the regular season on time.
Soto fouls this one away. Count remains at 3-2. Cubs with a 12-2 lead here in the 9th inning. That much closer to getting a road sweep here at Miller Park. Gutierrez takes a look on the first base side, and this one about a row or two out of his reach. The Cubs have not taken 3 from Milwaukee on the road since the 2003 season. And over the last 5 years, trying to improve to 21-11 here at Miller Park. Lou Piniella. His club was reeling coming into this weekend. Losers of 5 of 6. Didn't start 3 of his big boppers on Friday night, and the others came through. Pop up in the infield. Inglet coming in and makes the catch for the out.
You know who the happiest man in that infield was right there?
Was it Gutierrez?
He was looking at 2 or 3 guys saying, I'm not catching that. I'm not used to that pop-up. That was great.
Post-game instructional on the way. Brewers Live presented by Lincoln Mercury. Tour of the bullpen. Marcus Hanel, bullpen catcher, and Bill Schroeder will be out there.
2 guys very familiar with bullpens. Spent a lot of my career sitting in a bullpen. So is Marcus.
Gutierrez has room and retires Nady, who was pinch hitting, swinging at the first pitch.
Of course, the bullpens here at Miller Park much nicer than the ones at County Stadium. Bullpens everywhere in baseball are much nicer than they used to be.
How are they better? How bad was it?
It was nicer. I mean, Boston still, I think, has the worst bullpen in all of baseball for the visiting team. You are literally amongst all of the fans out there in right field, and it is impossible. Talking about some comments that you hear.
1 through 3 hitters. You see what the Cubs have done in this series. I mean, major numbers, and add 1 more hit for Torrio. Another 2-out single. Brewers have not been able to retire him at all in this game. He is actually, they did once in the 4th inning. That's the 5th time he's been on base.
Well, fastball down the middle, and Torrio, he doesn't mess around. He doesn't waste fastballs. Able to center on it and drive it into left field. Be nice to get that guy out of town. I'm tired of talking about Torrio on base.
4 singles and a double. He scored 2 runs. He's driven in 3, and that's today, not in the series. That's just today.
Torrio and Fukudome today so far have been on base 10 times.
That's unbelievable.
Torrio with 5 hits. Fukudome with 3 hits and 2 walks.
Fukudome, 1 more chance if he can get a triple. Good hit for the cycle in this game. Well, Menard's player of the game is Ryan Theriot, 9 for 15 overall in this series with 8 RBIs and the 5 hits today. $18 hits for the Cubs. It's been that kind of afternoon, that kind of series. And who would have thunk after Thursday's 20-0 victory? But you brought it up earlier in the game. Momentum's as far as your starting pitcher goes that day, right?
Exactly right. You just don't take momentum from one game to the next. In my opinion, from what I've seen, it's all about that guy on the mound that will establish your momentum.
Jeff Suppan pitched on Friday night and did not pitch well. He was sent to the bullpen today, and Chris Narveson will start in his place on Wednesday against the Pirates. Fukudome slaps one foul. There's Narveson. From a youngster to Trevor Hoffman. There's Soup out in the bullpen with Manny Parra. Parra will stay in the bullpen. He's pitched extremely effectively and now is the only lefty out there.
When was the last time Jeff Suppan was in the bullpen?
Well, he began his career with Boston back in 1996 when he broke into the majors and spent a little time out there, but pretty much since then has been a starter his entire career.
And you got to wonder how that adjustment's going to set. It's not as easy as just going to bullpen and waiting your turn.
Two on the way. This one misses low. Who would have thought that Manny Parra would really end up being a strong suit in the bullpen? I mean, he's been a starter in his young career.
Yeah.
Gomez to left. Gomez for the out. Brewers' final 3 outs coming in this game, trailing. In the bullpen, let's take you back to the series in Pittsburgh. Corey Hart hit his second home run. Powerball power play. Corey Hart is swinging a pretty decent bat when he gets his chance to start out there. Part of that outfield platoon of center and right with Jim Edmonds in the mix. Gomez, Hart. Here's Justin Berg.
Yep, on for the 8th time, a 5.14 earned run average, and when you consider the overall bullpen earned run average, that's not too bad. He's been in 7 innings of work. No strikeouts and 3 walks.
Hart swings at the first pitch. Straightaway center for the error. Let's check in one more time with Drew Olson.
Well, guys, Giovanni Gallardo going to start against the Pirates tomorrow, and he's got the double whammy facing him. He needs to probably stop a losing streak, barring a miraculous comeback, and he's going to be pitching in front of a depleted bullpen. Giovanni only went 5 innings in his last start against the Pirates, but he's going to need to step it up. His pitch counts have been getting away from him a little bit, and that's something he's going to be focusing on tomorrow night.
Now, you remember his last start against the Pirates. A little bit of a question. He was around 90 pitches, and Ken Maka took him out. I mean, everybody was thinking maybe he can go a couple of extra innings, but that may work to the Brewers' benefit going into this start. A little bit of a lower pitch count. The game was pretty well in hand. So, as far as the bullpen being depleted, I mean, you got to figure. You look at what's happened. Everybody out of the bullpen has worked 1 inning. It's not like everybody has been worked to excess so far. So I think that Giovanni getting taken out a bit early last time could help the Brewers tomorrow night.
Save the arm when he can, right?
Yeah. I mean, down the road, Giovanni is going to be extended at some point. It could be tomorrow. You take your opportunities to get him out of there, particularly when the game is well in hand. That's what Ken Maka did in Pittsburgh. And right now, it's looking like a pretty good move.
3-1 to Zone. 3-2. Zone with an RBI back in the 4th inning on an infield groundout. Scored Prince Fielder from third. Runs have been hard to come by over the last 3 games for the Brewers. Zone chops this one foul. Just 4 runs in the 3-game series. They've given up 25. And Zone draws the walk with 1 out. Bucks are continuing their NBA playoff push. Tickets for tomorrow's Game 4, the Bucks Atlanta Best of 7 playoff series, on sale now. Go to Bucks.com, the Bradley Center box office, or call 800-4NBA-TICKS to order your tickets for tomorrow's Game 4. Bucks winning last night, drawing now within 2-1 of Atlanta in that best of 7. Fox Sports Wisconsin's coverage of that one tomorrow night begins at 7 o'clock, by the way. And the Brewers and Pirates Game 1 of their series will be on WMLW locally. 7 o'clock for the coverage of that game. And forget about this series against the Cubs. That's for sure when you come to the ballpark tomorrow if you're a Brewer, right?
Gotta have a short memory in situations like this. Just like you have to have a short memory when you win 20-0. I mean, it's the same thing. You can't get too high, can't get too low.
Escobar to short. And the double play is not turned. So Escobar is safe. The throw pulled Tracy off the bag.
Good hustle down the line by Alcides. Would have been easy to put the head down and make an easy jog to first base, but busting it down the line all the way, running as hard as he can, and Chad Tracy pulls his foot off the bag on a high throw.
Two down here in the 9th. That brings up Joe Inglet. Dempster and Lilly both came out of this series victorious for the Cubs. Inglet takes a hack at that first pitch, foul. Inglet came on in the 5th inning. And an RBI double in the 7th. Getting some playing time beyond just pinch hitting for the first time as a Brewer in this game. Playing second base for weeks midway through this one. base hit to center. Escobar will move over to the third, and the Brewers still alive here with 2 down in the 9th inning.
Yeah, good for Joe Inglet. He's got a couple of hits. 5 hits on the season, 3 of them extra base hits. A double and an RBI back in the 7th. The Brewers have been much more effective and efficient off the bench this year so far. You remember the start that they had last year. A bunch of young kids coming off the bench. Terrible batting average as pinch hitters. That's not the case this year.
This is a guy that was put on waivers, of course, twice within a month during the offseason. Toronto put him on waivers. Texas claimed him in December, and then Texas put him on waivers, and Milwaukee claimed him in January and won a spot in spring training.
Brewers this year already, not including, of course, that wasn't a pinch hit, but already with 7 pinch hits this year. It took the Brewers well into June to collect that many hits off the bench.
Last year was a disaster, to say the least.
Early on
off the bench. Yeah,
early
it really
on.
was. Just the mix just did not turn out. Now George Kottaras gets his first at bat in this game. Took over at first base for Prince Fielder. One and 2 the count on Kottaras. Fly ball to left. Soriano getting underneath it. And the Cubs complete the sweep over the Brewers here at Miller Park. Their first road sweep of the Brewers since the 2003 season here in Milwaukee. And their first overall since 2004. 12-2 the final score. Brewers Live presented by Lincoln Mercury on the way.